Diamond Piece Sports presents Championship Drag Racing from the National Hot Rod Association. The Gator Nationals. Brought to you by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, St. Louis, Missouri. Brewers of Budweiser. When you say Budweiser, you've said it all. By English Leather Toiletries for Men. Ask for English Leather at fine toiletry counters everywhere. And by Fram, makers of oil, air, and gas filters, Fram windshield wipers, and Autolite spark plug.
Some of the racers weren't quite so lucky as to make the finals, but no one was injured seriously here at the Gator Nationals.
Well, in pro stock qualifying, fine shape would not be how you would describe Harold Denton in the party time car. Maybe out of shape.
It made a perfect straight run, and just as it got through the finish line, it felt to me like maybe the right rear tire went down. The chute came out, but it would never recover. It began to get a little crossways, and I got it back 2 or 3 times, and then next thing I knew, it was going around.
Best thing that happened for Harold was getting off in the dirt where those great big rear tires couldn't dig in like they will on pavement and flip him in.
Against Mike Dunn, the next race we'll be watching. Force out of Southern California, one of the stronger racers on the circuit, has qualified very well for this event down in the 580s. His competition, the second generation drag racer, Mike Dunn, the son of Big Jim Dunn. Now the driver for the Hawaiian, having won several NHRA national event titles in the past couple of years, driving Roland Leong's newest creation, the Hawaiian. The burnouts are completed, both drivers staging very carefully. You see John Force creeping into the light beams across the starting line, signifying he's ready to go. He gets the whole shot, but it's a red light for John Force. Mike Dunn goes up in smoke, and John Force explodes an engine just as he passes through the lights. The fire rolling out from under the car. He spins it out down in the shutoff area. Fortunately, Mike Dunn had shut it off way early. Here you see the emergency hatch coming open. Let's hope that John Force can get out of that car. There we see him climbing up. The emergency crew already on the scene, dousing him with water. John Force rolling off of the top of the car, taking off his fire protective gloves. And what a wild ride for John Force. A tough break as not only he red lights, but as you see again, explodes the engine. Look at the fire coming out from underneath and behind the car. The parachute trying to slow it down. And now the parachute goes the way as the flames burn away the shroud lines. Now the fire really coming up, carrying the onboard fire extinguisher. You notice very little, if any, fire inside the cockpit where the driver is. That's the purpose of that fire extinguishing compound. A tremendous driving job by John Force, and I'm sure he is shaken up, and we'll find out as we go to Steve Evans.
John, you okay?
Fine, Steve.
Again, the safety equipment, what would you do without it?
Save my butt. What could you do?
When we saw the white smoke, that's when the fire bottles hit, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Save me. I love it.
Did you have any idea where you were on the course?
just from the steering wheel, because the front end was staying intact, and it was a little bit sideways, and Roland must have done a good job because he didn't ram me, because I know I crossed him a little bit. And I could see him when it turned sideways, the fire cleared some, and God, I can't believe I red lighted up there.
I didn't know that either. In fact, you just told me. That's the first time I've known that. Cars, we can replace. Good guys like you, we can. I'm really glad to see you're okay. Everybody is.
Thank you.
Steve, you can see the disappointment as you found out as John Force, realizing not only did he have a very expensive blower explosion, he red lighted to lose the race, meaning he left.
Due to a broken suspension member, Frank Farino was on the scene as Stacy came from the car.
Stacy, the most important question, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
What went through your mind? Was there any moment where you panicked and you thought, my God, this may be it?
No, NHRA usually stay up on their safety factors. They don't let you race hardly unless your car's really up to par. So my shoulder harness, seat belt, and everything, my crouch, the whole thing. And when the car started flipping, I stayed in the seat.
I want to wish you good luck, and I hope you can get that thing. Are you going to be able to rebuild that, or you start over again?
We'll probably start all over again.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
6.
Crash and fire for Bob Gottschalk as the engine exploding just before the finish line in qualifying. The car enveloped in flame with Gottschalk inside that cockpit. He hits the fire bottles. You see the fire begin to go down inside the car, but it's still burning outside the firewall. Burning underneath the car. The parachute goes, there goes the rear tire, and Gottschalk loses control. From the time the NHRA Safety Safari first spotted the fire in Bob Gottschalk's car to the moment they responded on the scene, only 14 seconds had elapsed. It is because of those safety procedures that Bob Gottschalk was able to return to Gainesville Raceway earlier this morning and talk to Steve Evans.
Bob Gottschalk, boy, is it good to see you back at the racetrack. How are you?
I'm fine. I suffered some burns on my hands and on the tops of my feet, but other than that, I'm in fine shape.
5.
Andy Manarino, pro stock driver, a horrendous 147-mile-an-hour crash in his Mustang II Pro Stocker. Manarino was hospitalized. The good word is, Andy, back at the races, only minor cuts and bruises.
4.
Here in Super Gas qualifying, Mickey Thompson of Ohio, named after the legendary drag off-road and Bonneville racer, left the starting line and found himself out of control. Thompson's Chevy Vega started to spin out, first to the left, then to the right, then the rear tire buckled under, and the car began a series of barrel rolls, taking it right up to the guardrail. Right after the crash, we had a chance to talk with an obviously shaken Mickey Thompson.
I just remember heading for the right guardrail and trying to turn it back, and that's all I remember.
Thanks to the stringent rules and safety requirements of NHRA for all classes of cars in competition, an uninjured Mickey Thompson is able to wonder what happened.
3.
Billy Manzel in the first round of modified eliminator suffered some parts breakage in his Corvette. Round and round he goes. Where he stops, only Billy knows. A great driving job by both Billy and his competitor minimized damage to only the parts breakage in Billy Manzel's Corvette. The true damage goes to Billy's ego and to his pocketbook for the parts breakage. There are some days when nothing seems to go right. Len Imbrogno, the driver of the Centurion funny car, slams into the guardrail at a qualifying run at the Gatornationals. The car minus the right front wheel slides to a stop, the fiberglass still burning on the front of the vehicle. Imbrogno encased inside that smoking funny car. The NHRA Safety Safari crew and firefighting equipment arriving right on the scene. Crew member checking on the condition of Imbrogno. Both cars left the starting line together. Kosti Ivanov into a gigantic wheel stand. Then Imbrogno into the guardrail. The force of the impact ripping the right front wheel and axle assembly off the car. The fuel tank splitting, catching on fire. Imbrogno totally out of control. He can't steer that car, that $40,000 funny car that's now basically a piece of junk. Imbrogno coming to a sliding stop at the start of the speed trap, just 66 feet short of the finish line at Gainesville Raceway. The remains of the chassis suspended from the wrecker as it's taken from the racetrack. You see dramatic proof of the force of the impact as the right front wheel and axle assembly ripped from the car, but the roll cage in excellent condition. A lot of luck for Len Imbrogno so he can talk to Steve Evans.
Well, Dave, as what's left of the Centurion funny car is being pulled off the track, this is Len Imbrogno. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right.
That's about as hard as I've seen a funny car hit the rail in a long time.
Really? The car went into a tire shake, which is normal for funny cars, and generally when you shift the car into high gear, the tire shake will stop. But apparently this one had its front wheels off the ground, and as I shifted it, that's all I can remember. But it was veering, I guess. It got out of its tracks, and as soon as it got out of its track a little bit, it went right into the guardrail just as I shifted it. So,
and once you hit the rail, you had no steering. How close did you come to Kosti Ivanov?
I didn't even see Kosti. I tried to keep it, everything to this side as much as possible. I don't remember seeing Kosti at all.
Okay, well, our condolences on the loss of a fine race car, but you're okay, and that's what really counts.
Thank you, Steve.
What does 31-year-old Len Imbrogno and his partner Ken Thornburg do? Well, of course, they build another funny car. And Beadle continued to tell the story of Funny Car Eliminator as he came to the line in the first round of competition earlier this afternoon. The experts had classed Beadle as the strong favorite, expecting little trouble from the number 9 qualifier, Al Segrini. And it was then that it happened. With incredible skill, Beadle regained control and drove the car to a stop. The crowd waited to see whether Beadle had been injured. And as he climbed out, untouched, the crowd roared its approval. Raymond Beadle, 3-time world champion, safe and sound. A tribute to his driving skills and the safety of the sport. As we watch this startling turn of events again, put yourself in the driver's seat and think how fast all this is really happening. From what appeared to be a normal start, the 2,500 horsepower race car was thrown out of control and rolled over on its top. At this point, there's little the driver can do but crouch down in the protective roll cage, hold on tight, and ride it out. When the car slid across the track and slammed into the opposite guardrail, the fiberglass body tore off the chassis, leaving Beadle and the car back on 4 wheels. When the body came off, the parachute deployed, helping slow the car. Beadle quickly recovered and literally started driving the car again, this time bringing it to a safe stop.
All right, Raymond Beadle, first of all, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. It just hurt my feelings worse than anything else.
What happened? We couldn't tell from where I was.
Well, the car went out and it shook a little bit, and it had like a slow drift, and I thought I could bring it around, and it just dug in on the one side, and when it did, it just flipped it. There's nothing I could do.
Well, that's the first time you've been on your head in a long time, maybe ever.
We went on our head once several years ago, but I got to say it was my fault. I stayed with it a little longer. We was trying so hard to win that round. We've slid around before and had no problem, but like I said, it just dug in.
And the car doesn't look that badly damaged.
No, it's all right. I think it rolled once or so.
Okay, I'll let you join your wife, Holly, because she's obviously concerned as your condition. He's fine.
She's worse than I am.
Raymond Beadle, sometimes I think he has ice water for blood, a cool, calm individual.